Yeah. So, Radhe Radhe, welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Over to you, Nitinji.
Thank you. Thank you, Brana, for a wonderful bhajan session. Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening to all of you, to another edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Hope you all are doing good. And let's get started on the shloka that we are on. 5.11 is what we started talking about yesterday, and we'll continue to build on that discussion, starting with our soul soup segment. So let me share my screen and we shall get started. Okay, here you go. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, Nitinji.
Okay, great. Let it come in the screen mode. We'll start with our opening prayers. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् Radhe Radhe, morning, good evening to all of you. So let's get started. Today's session, so with our soul soup segment. So today we will build on what we are talking about. Today we are talking about circumstances in our lives. We all face certain circumstances, situations in our life, and let's see what is our scriptural perspective on that. Okay. Hopefully it will help put a lot of things in perspective. So circumstances, it says they come for a purpose. There's usually a purpose for which these circumstances come in anybody's life. And then they remain until the purpose is served. It is a saying as well, lessons in life will be repeated until they are learned. Okay, this is from a very famous quote as well. And same thing goes with the circumstances as well. Until the lesson is learned or until the purpose for which the circumstances came is served, those will remain. Very difficult to know what was the purpose of the circumstance that came, but we can make an educated guess around it, or some kind of a perspective around it might help us to face that circumstance. Now, our current circumstances, if you look at it, before I get into that, let me talk a little bit about circumstances. So there is a cause and effect related, right? So basically what happens is there is a link between our inner desires in the past or the present and the circumstances that we attract in our life. And people, they rarely understand the cause and effect chain and keep fighting with circumstances, blaming situations for all the miseries and feeling woefully victimized by them. And it is dictated by the law of karma. Okay, past and present, that's why I was talking about. So let's understand this. There was a young lady who was, no, before I get into that. So there was a guy whose name was Ramdat. So he was very annoyed. And with the fact that he had a very irascible behavior of his neighbor was like very, very, tricky guy who would play on his nerve and very troublesome. He was pretty obnoxious as well. So to get away from him, this guy moves to another neighborhood to find that his new neighbor is no better than his previous neighbor. Okay, maybe worse. And then the experience continued to repeat itself over and over again. Every time he would move, he would encounter an equally obnoxious personality to deal with. And eventually this guy decides to see the situation positively and starts to look at it as an opportunity to develop his own tolerance and patience, the very two virtues in which he was deficient to begin with. And then he realizes that the circumstances, um, he thought that the circumstances were schemed for that very purpose. And when he finally mastered equipoise around that situation, despite the worst behavior of their neighbor, he suddenly found that the situation started easing. And wonderful citizens, they started moving into his neighborhood. So, this is how the circumstances typically work in our life. And it is said that this lesson will keep on repeating until we have learned it. You may keep changing bosses, people, situation, but if the same thing is repeating over and over again through different people, then it is a sure reflection that there is a lesson in that, which is that is why that particular situation is repeating over and it is schemed into your existence for a specific purpose. So our current circumstances, they are a function. So in maths, we used to have function. Function means they depend upon our inner desires, past or present. They are attracting certain circumstances. Either we are learning a lesson or we are creating a lesson. Anything could be happening around it. So we'll continue to build on this because now it means that we have a lot of control over the kind of circumstances or situations we attract in our life. We do have some kind of an influence over that, which is what we will continue to explore as part of this, because there is a book also called Law of Attraction, which said that merely by thinking of certain things, we start attracting those things in life, such as wealth, success. So we'll see, is it truly true? And try to look at it from a Vedic perspective. With that said, let's move on to the topic of our discussion, which is 5.11. I'm going to recite it and we'll pick up 3 hands to continue forward. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalarindriyairapi yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. Let's take 3 hands.
Anita ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये.
Nice,
Thank you,
thank you,
Radhe.
Raji. Radhe Radhe.
Shyam ji, Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. कायेन मनसा बुद्धया केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि योगिनिः कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा शुद्धये. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, thank you. Shyam.
Riya ji, Radhe Radhe.
राधे राधे कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये.
Very
राधे
nice, thank
राधे.
you. Thank you, Riyaji. Radhe Radhe. So let's get started. So in this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying that the yogis, while giving up attachment, perform actions with their body, senses, mind, and intellect only for the purpose of self-purification. So giving up attachment is the key here. Yesterday we spoke about every act that we perform or endeavor that we take in life is driven by some kind of a prayojan or a motive. And then we explored 3 or 4 drivers that people typically have to perform any action. So we'll continue to build on that today. Happy Holi, by the way. Happy Holi to everyone. Now, the colors of Holi is talking about. Hope you all had a great Holi and enjoyed the festival of colors. Now, let's talk about it. So our heart needs to be colored as well. And the secret of coloring our heart is, right now, it is colored with a lot of things. As you can see, this is what our space, our heart takes, our world, mini world that we have around, our friends, relatives, car, grandparents, parents, family, house, whatever it is. So the secret is like this beautiful verse that Swamiji talks about. Yeh anuragi chitta ki Gati samjhe na koi. So this anuragi chit means our chit, which is the important component of our mind, man, so to say, man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, the chit aspect, ye anuragi, it is called anuragi. That means it has to attach itself to something. And it is currently colored with, as you can see, what is there in our chit, right, our many world. So as part of the festival of Holi, let's understand the secret here. It says, "Jyon jyon doobe sham rang, त्यों त्यों उज्जवल होए." ये अनुरागी चित्त की गति समझे ना कोई, ज्यों ज्यों डूबे श्याम रंग त्यों त्यों उज्जवल होए. So as you keep on immersing itself in the color of God, that is proportionately it will start shining forth as well. Okay, that is how our heart works. So on the festival of Holi, this might be an opportunity to renew our enthusiasm, to color our heart in loving devotion for God. Because when we'll do that, it will serve the purpose of spirituality as well, because then we'll get closer to our true identity, and our soul, the true nature of our soul, will start shining forth as well. Ujjwal hoy means it starts shining forth. So let's move on. Now, happy Holi once again to all of you. Get to the shloka. Now, see, for us, we have Lord Krishna on one side, and then we have Mother Radha on other side, which is basically Adviti Ek Tattva hai, both are same. So God said, all right, they don't have a mother, so let me duplicate myself and become mother as well. Now for Krishna, he's immersed in Radha. He enjoys the Radha, Gaur Rang and Gaur Ras, both. And then Radha Rani, Gaur Ras, Radha Rani, she is immersed in Krishna's love. So she enjoys Sham Rang and Sham Ras both. However, as a devotee, right, these are the devotees, we get both. So we are double lucky. They can enjoy each other, but we can enjoy both the Yugal Ras or the Yugal Rang, so to say. So that is our position. So that is why we are extremely lucky if you look at it in the path of devotion, especially if your Ishtadev is Radha Krishna, Sita Ram. You can enjoy both Shakti and Shaktiman, even though they are both immersed in each other, but we have an opportunity to enjoy both. Okay, so the ras gets multiplied as well. All right, so yesterday, this is where we left. Where we left was that we need to purify the drivers. Right? The purification is needed. What are the drivers? These are the drivers: love, fear, duty, and desire. So let's continue on this discussion where we had left yesterday and see what purification would mean. And that's where we'll have a bit of discussion as well, because the whole idea in this particular shloka is where how do we simulate, not just simulate, but how do we get closer to the concept of being yogis? Yogis are also performing those actions, but something is different, which is enabling them to purify themselves. So that is what we'll try to look at today. So let's start with fear. We spoke about fear, the kind of fears we have in life, right? Fear of adverse situations, fear of failure, financial security, losing something precious, validation, boss, ghost, insects, whatever. So they are all fears. Now, how do we purify our fear? Any thoughts around that? Let me throw in some few things and then maybe a little bit of discussion, and then we'll move forward to the other one as well. If we have fear, that is fine. There's a reason why we have fear, but how can we utilize this emotion to purify our man? Okay, this is called dovetailing it in the right direction or channelizing it for something productive. Now, so first we need to get this out and get something in as well, right? Face everything and rise on the material perspective. First of all, we need to face everything. It's like have faith in God, exert yourself, because worrying, there's a flow chart, right? Pretty interesting flow chart around worrying on fear as well. If you're worrying about something, there are two possibilities. Can you do something about it? If the answer is yes, then why worry? Can you not do anything about it? No, I cannot. Then why worry? In either case, you can't do anything, right? So don't worry. Now, fear, we need to get these things out, and what do we need to get in? Let's understand that. Now, if you have a fear of wasting another human life, that's a good fear to have. Right? That will help you to focus your effort. That hisab kitab or all the odds or all things, supporting factors converging in one lifetime is very rare. First of all, getting a human life, then getting kind of an inspiration, then getting satsang, getting a guru, getting the right knowledge, getting the right guidance, feeling inspired. If all those factors are converging, it is a very rare event to happen. That means the universal forces, God has converged all the supporting factors for us to make it happen. And then if you think that let waste another human life, if you have that fear at the back of our mind, then it's a good fear to have. That's one of the ways you can utilize fear for your own growth. What else could be there? Fear of letting God and Guru down with our actions, not gurus, but Guru down with our actions. That is another thing. See, we get grace with a lot of effort, and then at the same time, there's a responsibility on us as well, right? So that thing, that knowledge, keeping that knowledge at the back of our mind is very important, because if we are getting that, then we should make the most of it, because we cannot take that for granted. And then it's like hitting a scholarship. If we fritter it away, then somebody else will get that scholarship. Okay? They also have a rule that God and Guru follow. Let's give it to somebody else who's more worthy and who can probably make the best use of it. So it's a good fear to have. Fear of degrading our sanskars is also a very important fear to have, because it takes a lot to actually work our way up. And if we simply degrade it, um, there cannot be anything more destructive than that, because just to move a little bit in our life forward can take multiple lifetimes, and then to fall does not take much. So that is a good fear to have. Fear of losing our spiritual spark and momentum. We should be really fearful about that. We say that do not underestimate the power of Maya. It's like driving on a highway. When we are driving, we are very alert. Indicator, who's coming from left, speed limit, who's coming from right, who's coming in front, which lane we are on, what kind of direction we are on, right? It doesn't take a lot of maneuvering for us, especially on Texas roads, because they have designed in a way where you don't have to take drastic turns. There's a lot of space on either side. Humans enjoy space, right? And then you take a little bit of turn, a little bit of maneuvering, like here, and by the time you have realized, you have changed the complete direction altogether. And same thing can happen in Maya as well. It does not take us long to shift direction. You will not even realize it. Okay, give up. I'm telling you, if you get out of this routine and you start getting comfortable, not even comfortable, you just give it up for a few days and see how it happens. It says that a habit suicide can happen within 3 days, but our mind immediately will get filled up with the mic thoughts and stuff, and that agitated mind is something you would immediately realize something has started changing. But then losing that spark that we feel, because we may be having a supporting, see, our sanskars keep on shifting throughout our lifetimes. So when we have favorable or supportive sanskars, it's easy for us to be inspired and be on this path. It is like riding a bicycle downhill. You don't have to pedal. It's just happening all by itself. But then there would be times when your sanskars may not be so supportive. You may have a situation of like having to ride a bicycle uphill. And when those sanskars will come, people who understand this concept, okay, the sanskar shifting can happen, guna play can happen, they pedal harder. They understand that we have to sail through this phase as well. And people who don't understand, they can get swayed with Maya. And then it could take a long time as well. Maharaj used to say there were devotees, they came with a full enthusiasm on this path. Full enthusiasm, like there is no tomorrow. They are going to break all the Guinness Book of World Records in devotion. And with the same speed, they vanished as well. Okay, where did they go? Nobody knows. And then they could come back after some of them would be seen in the satsang of Maharajji after 20 years. And Maharajji said, okay, where were you doing? Where were you? What were you doing? Same story. They were busy getting slaps from Maya, all the family drama and all that stuff. So frittered away 20, 25 years, again came back to that. It can happen. We cannot underestimate the power of Maya. Some people, when the going gets tough, spirituality is a easy refuge for them. But as soon as the life starts easing out, it's very easy to get back to the mundane thing. So this fear of I'm not going to lose this spark, even when my sanskars are not going to cooperate, is a very good fear to have. And one of the things that can help sail this time period, if it as and when it comes, is by writing a journal. If you're feeling inspired right now for some reason, document it, because when you are not feeling inspired, it'll help you to come back to this state by reading it, because something inspired you to begin with. It'll come back. So document if you're feeling inspired ever in life for whatever, especially your spiritual realizations and stuff. It's a very good habit to journal it, document it, and keep looking back at it, especially in times when you are not feeling so much motivated. And it'll happen. We cannot say it'll not happen to us. It's bound to happen to everybody, somewhere, sooner or later. But a devotee who understands the deeper aspects of it, they're able to sail through it. They don't get disheartened, demotivated, or they don't end up taking a U-turn in life altogether. So it's a good fear to have. This is how we can channelize fear to purify ourselves, as opposed to degrading ourselves and building tests for ourselves, right? Today we spoke about in the Soul Soup segment that we attract our circumstances. So let's say if you're paranoid, you generally have a habit of fearing and worrying about things, then you're creating lessons for yourself unnecessarily. I think Anita Murjani had written that, right? If I think in her book that no, not Anita Murjani, this guy Edelweiss, who would treat patients by doing life regression, you would understand some people are just generally fearful and paranoid, and because of it, they need to suffer from a lot of diseases as well. So it's like unnecessary worrying and stuff like that. Not only the immediate effects on our body, but in long term, we are actually creating certain tests and lessons for ourselves. Every action has a price tag to it. And we need to be careful about when are we digging a pit and when we are truly uplifting ourselves. There could be a pit we are digging that we only have to climb over. So got to be careful about that. And this is some of the ways how we can utilize fear, um, this emotion in our spiritual journey. Any thoughts, comments, anything somebody wanted to add before I move on to the next one? Yes, Andrea?
Just got reminded of one thing that you had said earlier regarding dealing with material fear, is to kind of accept the extreme outcome. Like have an acceptance towards what is the worst that can happen in terms of the material concerns and fears generated out of them. And once we do that, then that fear will lose power over us. And anyway, like this is a temporary drama that we are a part of. So, taking it too seriously is not really worth it.
True, very true. They say, right, don't take life too seriously. Nobody's going to come out of it alive anyways. And in long term, we are all dead. Okay, soul is not dead. Okay. Anyways, it's a lighter way of looking at it. But yes, unnecessary fearing is something not good for us at all, right? We need to get out of that mindset, because then you start extrapolating it to pretty much everything. So it's usually a good idea not to create unnecessary test for ourselves by indulging in unnecessary fears, worries, and stuff like that.
And one more thing regarding the spiritual fears, which are in general good. But as you also said, one needs to put a cap also over there, because otherwise that also can get to an extreme, which can then hinder the progress as well. Right? So as far as I understand, it is the faith which can only put that cap. But you could probably elaborate on it.
Right. So faith definitely helps us to tackle this emotion, because now you are exercising prasad buddhi, acceptance, right? Acceptance around things that you don't have control over. So when we have faith, we just accept the unknowns or uncontrollables, as opposed to keep on beating it to death in our head. So faith definitely helps on that. Let's continue to build on this. So fear is one. Let's move on to the next one now. Desire. This is another one, right? Now, desire, we spoke about the multiple types. Desire for power, fame, money, satiating our senses, success, object, person, favorable circumstances, Insta likes, Facebook shares, whatever. So these are not all inclusive, but you got the gist, right? Now, how can we channelize desire for our purification? So this needs to get out, and what needs to get in through proper knowledge is desire to grow from within and make it a priority. Now, if your priority is inner growth, there is nothing else you need in life. This one punchline takes care of everything in life. Now, you cannot say my desire or my priority is inner growth, but I don't get enough opportunities for that. Okay, you can never say that. Every situation, the higher the adversity, the greater the opportunity for inner growth. There's absolutely nothing in this world which would not give you an opportunity for inner growth. Now, the desire or making that as a priority is a great desire to have. If somebody makes that desire, I think life is solved. The puzzle of life is solved already. You cannot say in this opportunity, I cannot grow from within. Absolutely nothing. So it's a great desire to have. This is how we can utilize desire to purify ourselves. Then desire to serve God and Guru to the best of our abilities. It's a great desire. We all have unique abilities. See, God has made us unique. He's made us unique. If He had not made us unique, the cybersecurity industry, especially my identity and access management space, would have collapsed. I work on biometrics, MFA, and all that stuff we do. Part of it is reliant upon the uniqueness of each individual. You know, your fingerprints, your retina scan, your body orders. I mean, we don't use dogs for that. Dogs can do that. Once they smell somebody, they know that person is a friend. They are not going to bite them. That's a different thing. People like me will not even let them smell even for once. But we all are unique. God has made all of us unique. And then we have unique abilities to please God. And God wants all of us. Okay, this is a simple equation. He's made us unique. We can uniquely please Him through our abilities. And He wants all of us. It's not like I want this, don't want that. That is why He's made us unique. So desire to serve God, we all have our abilities and we can do it in our own ways. They say, right, endowing us with the script and the music is God's gift to us. Realizing that music and script and then serving back God is our gift back to Him. And this desire to serve our God and Guru to the best of our abilities is a great desire. Nit seva mangu, that bhajan is there. This is a purifying desire if we have that desire. And then desire to fight with our lower nature. You know, the first and third are kind of overlapping. When we make inner growth a priority, we have to fight our lower nature as well. If we have that desire and we make a resolve around doing that, then it's a good desire. It's a purifying desire. So this is how we can use desire for our benefit. Okay, because desire motivates to put in action. We spoke about this thing, like we spoke about the previous one. Now the desire is the second one, how we can utilize it. Anything else you wanted to add? So fear we have spoken about, desire we have spoken about. Let's move on, and then yes, Sanjay, you wanted to add something? Duty.
Just one of the desire could be to seek God through all our senses, like diverting all sensual desires to seeking God, like, seeing Him, listening to Him, and so
Yeah.
on and so forth.
Anything related to God, basically. They say that the devotees' ears are like ocean. You keep on putting more and more kirtan and stuff, and they say, we crave for more, such big ears. So they want to do more of Shravan, more of that. We spoke about that ras, the Gaur ras and Sham ras. The more you put, the more the craving. It's like, what do you call that? The thirst is not quenched. The thirst keeps on increasing. Once I was going to Vaishno Devi during summers, and I was feeling very thirsty, and I was drinking Coke on the way. But then after every 10 minutes, again, I was feeling thirsty, sweating and thirsty. I said, what kind of a Coke it is? They put something because of which your thirst is not quenched. But in case of God, it is for good reason, okay? Not like Coke. Your thirst is not quenched. You crave for more. That is the ras of God. So yes, that is a good desire where you want to eat, devour that nectar more and more of it. And that way we can dovetail that desire or utilize that desire for our purification as well. In fact, Ruchi Gan, that is one of the symptoms on the path of bhakti as well, where you get interested in discussing about God, hearing about God, talking about God, listening to his leelas, doing more of kirtan. These are all the symptoms on the path of devotion as you start on keep on progressing, because you start relishing it, God's name, because now you have developed better taste in life, not the usual mundane taste. Let's move on to duty. Now, duty towards parents, family, country, society, cause, job, etc. Right? These are all duties. Now, this is in, I'm not putting out here. You say the moment I'll say out, you say what do you mean? So we say in, they are needed, of course. In plus minus we have to do. A little bit of plus minus we have to do. We'll see what plus, what minus. All this is fine. Let's do that. Let's extend our duty towards our eternal parents and well-wishers as well. Right, Swamiji was telling in his lecture to you right now, the person was saying, I feel sad that I can't take care of my parents. I'm pretty far away from them. Okay, and at this age, I'm not able to take care of them. And this Swamiji said, do your best. You got to be practical around your situation as well. Do your best. But at the same time, if you truly, then he was talking about the spiritual part of it as well. What do I do, Swamiji? He said, if you think about your spiritual parents and you truly get to know what they have done for you, you will have tears in your eyes. Okay, that is how deep our relationship with our eternal parents is, which is God himself, an eternal parent and well-wishers. So yes, our material duties do count, but then we need to add our spiritual duty around it as well, right? It's the gratitude is of course there, but think about it. Somebody is waiting for you, has been providing for us, and is waiting to embrace us, and we are kind of busy in our own life. So we need to add that spiritual. So spirituality is actually, we think it's an optional thing, but if you think deeply about it, it is mandatory. It's just a matter of gratitude and waking up to the fact that that relationship, which has been one-sided since time eternity, we need to start correcting that equation now. It's a one-sided love affair with God that is going on right now. Okay, so we need to make it two-sided. Then towards our family, friends, relatives, society, etc., as a trustee, not with a sense of proprietorship. That is the fine-tuning that is needed. Of course, we need to take care of all of them. It's not, spirituality is not asking them to ditch them or turn your back towards them, but change the perspective around it. It has to be a matter of as a trustee, as opposed to thinking they are mine and they belong to me, and this should happen, that should happen, all that stuff. That just complicates the whole equation. Okay. And then what else? Okay, nothing else. Maybe something else you want to add, then go ahead. There could be other points as well, but I've just called out the main ones. Anything anybody wanted to add or had any question on this one? Yes, Shyamji.
Yes, Radhe Radhe Shyamji.
Radhe Radhe. It's once we on this spiritual path, aren't these things automatically out of our life mind? Because once we're in this path, these things automatically come to us by default. Is it or is it not?
See, by default, of course, see, when you start developing, deepening your devotion, right? So our scriptures tell us that bhakti is a mother of Gyan and Vairagya. So the knowledge as well as the detachment will automatically follow. But keeping this knowledge, until we reach that stage or it manifests from within, always helpful. We have to be trusty, because those moments will come. We have very deep rooted conditioning, right? Across multiple lifetimes. You never know when it will come back again. In any of the relationship where you say, oh, I own it, or oh, this is happening, that is happening. We'll get involved in some of those dramas. And when we do get, that's when, again, taking a pause, assuming that witness consciousness. So you have to do WCWC. Okay, welcome witness consciousness in these cases. Just take a back seat and then you look at it in a perspective before you get sucked into that Bermuda Triangle again of relationship and the melodrama or the drama that can unfold around you. But yes, you are right. When in advanced stages, it will start happening all by itself, because that is one of the symptoms of deepening your devotion or progressing in devotion, that the required Vairagya and Gyan would automatically start manifesting. So let's say you have developed 10% love for God, 10% Vairagya and Gyan has already come in. 20% would come in, 30%, and that's how it continues.
Is Viragya good or bad? other in other sense.
Viragya is good. Viragya is good, right? Viragya is you are going beyond Vit plus rag, it is says. So Viragya is a good thing. Viragya helps you see things in perspective. That's all. It doesn't mean you run away from your responsibilities, but you can discharge it even better. When you do it with a sense of responsibility and detachment, you do it much better. Think of it as a nurse. A nurse knows what is the right thing to do if a baby is crying. Right? It will probably not give it milk. But if a mother sees the baby crying because of her attachment, she would feed her milk, and that may upset the stomach further. They will not be able to do the right thing if they are deeply attached in that particular situation. But when you are doing it with a sense of responsibility, then you will do the right thing. Nurses do the right thing. They just know what is needed for the baby there, because they take the emotion out of the equation, right? Because they don't have that, and because for them it's a matter of duty, right? For a mother, it's my baby, what's happening? So sense of responsibility and detachment actually enables us to do much better duty, not turn our back towards it. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Radhe Radhe.
Yes, Pratyusha, you wanted to add something?
Radhe Radhe Pratusha ji. I am unable to unmute her. Nitin ji, you want to try?
I tried and I got 3 times unlucky. Pratyusha, you want to rejoin and try it? Yes, Sandhya, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, so we have limited time and there can be n number of duties, especially when you add both material as well as spiritual. So then, of course, we would try and optimize that, right? And as our love for God keeps increasing and our understanding of our spiritual duties keep increasing, we want to do more of that. So in this process, it is possible that our aparadharma or the material duties can take a back seat, right? Because of the limited time. And like here, with respect to spiritual duties, I'm specifically talking about physical engagement, not just mental mansi seva. So how to put this into perspective? Like you said that, it's not going to be an issue with Vairagya, not that we will
See, we
stop it.
calibrate everything based on the station of life that we are in. Okay, so we need to calibrate that based on what station of life we are in right now. What are the balls that we are juggling right now? If you ask me right now, I cannot drop a ball. Swamiji has written in his book as well, right? You have your material duties, your job, your health, your finances, and then of course spirituality. So you are juggling all the balls. The proportions could vary. That fine tuning and calibration you need. If you don't have a job, if you're in a station of life where you don't have to take care of your job, you're already settled, or you have kind of sorted that aspect out, then maybe have you fewer balls to juggle, and that there also you need to calibrate within your sadhana seva and your worldly exposure and other things as well. So it's a constant battle or a juggling game that we have to do that. But one of the thumb rules that Swamiji said, that you have to handle and balance both duties based on the station of life that you're in. But whenever your spiritual duties and your material duties are at a loggerhead, then spiritual duty takes precedence. Okay, that is what he had told very clearly. Now, what would be that situation? I don't know. There could be some situations where there is a loggerhead or a conflict between the two, then your spiritual duty will take a precedence. But yeah, it is a lot of calibration based on the station of situation circumstances that we are in. And we have to, it's more of an art than a science, calibrate it and see what is needed, right? Like if you put a frog in all of a sudden in a hot water, it'll say, oh my God, what happened, right? It will not be able to tolerate it, even though it may not be safe. But you put it in a warm water and then keep raising the temperature a little bit, it will be able to take that. And same thing we need to do in our life as well. Spirituality is also about calibration, because if you don't calibrate it well, then there could be ramifications which might be unfavorable for us, which could defeat the purpose of our spirituality as well. Because if we don't calibrate it as well, and we don't get supporting circumstances around it, then it can derail our journey as well. Or not derail, but make it a little difficult. So we need the support. We need a peace of mind. We need financial security. We need health, good body. So all those things have to be calibrated, even though not all of them is spiritual. But if your end goal is clear, then you keep on tweaking those variables around this so that they are favorable, and nothing is getting out of whack, which could be a possible impediment on this path for us. But yeah, depending upon the situation, we can have a more discussion on it. Yes, Anita ji, you wanted to say something. Pratyusha, you want to rejoin? We are not able to
That-
unmute
No, I
you.
think she rejoined. Let me try to unmute her. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Chandraji, Nitin sir, everyone. Actually, I wanted to add 2 points to this. That is, we were discussing about Vairagya. So basically, how I kind of see it is Vairagya is not, getting away from your duties. Rather, the Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. These things you should have Vairagya from. Then naturally, all the oneness, love, devotion towards anyone, not only just your family or your office, or it will automatically come. That is Vairagya. And that is also related to the trustee mentality, which is even Arjun had Moha, right? All the identities and how he will, how he is going to kill them. So when Krishna Bhagwan advised him, what he ultimately realized is he's having Moha. He just pulled himself away from that, and he was able to. And then at this 18.66, he says Sarva Dharma. That means all duties, Parityaja, leave it and you work for me. That means if we are placed in a particular situation, in a particular family, around particular people, just think that you are working for God and do your duties.
Mhm.
So that's it. That's what I wanted to share.
Good point. I think that's essentially what Karma Yoga is as well. So yes,
Yes.
it's our attachment aspect of it, which actually binds us and makes us fearful around any situation, right? So well said, Pratyusha. Anita ji, you wanted to add something real quick?
Oh yeah, Radhe Radhe Anita ji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Like Swamiji said, Mansi Seva is higher than the Seva what we do with our body, that is physical Seva.
Right.
So for doing Mansi Seva, you should be first acquainted with the physical Seva first. Just like for going into the aerospace, the simulators will be there
Right.
for getting training for
True.
hours and hours, so that you get used to that climatic condition and then acclimatize yourself and then go there. So
Right.
physical seva is so important before doing Mansi seva. Thank you,
Mansi
Radha.
will follow automatically. Yeah, thank you, Anita ji. Very true. Mansi Seva would follow automatically. That is why I say when we say tan man dhan sab tera kya lage mera, right? We say that in Aarti. Now, if you truly think about that, then the hierarchy, the way it works in the hierarchy is dravya. Dhan is the first thing. It is the most basic thing when it comes to offering something, right? So it starts with dhan, then comes tan, and then comes man. Man is the final thing. If you think I have already offered man, I don't need to do tan or dhan, doesn't work that way. Only if you have offered that aspect, man is like you are with mind, you are able to offer that, right? Which is closer to the atma samarpan part of it. So tan man dhan, it starts with dhan, then tan. Of course, you can vary the proportion around it, and the man aspect will come automatically towards the end, right? But it starts with something that is dear to us, and in Kali Yuga, it is said dhan is the most thing that we want to hold on to, um, and keep on passing from generation to generation, right? It is much more than we truly need. So duties, this is how we can purify the duties as well, towards parents, family, country, society, all that stuff. Eternal parents, we need to think about that as well, and then do it as a trustee, not as an owner. That changes the equation completely. And when you think of things around you, your relatives, your kids, your parents, your family, everything as a trustee, not as an owner. First, they belong to God, and then they belong to you, right? So if God has endowed those relationships to us, we have to trust him. It's like, see, if you have a kid and your neighbor comes to you and says, you know what, I have a lot of worry about your kid. I think he should be doing this. You'll say, are you kidding me? I am this person's parent, mother or father, and you are telling me same thing. God must be smiling when we get worried about, things that, okay, what will happen to this person or my kid or my this and that. He'll say, first they belong to me. I have a plan for them. Rather, to you just focus on your duty as a trustee. Don't think you own them. They come through you. They don't come from you, right? Even the kids. So that is a part that changes the whole ownership. That when we think we are trustee, that's a beautiful story of Shivaji Maharaj, right? His guru, he offers his kingdom to him, his guru. And guru said, all right, I accept it. But now I give it back to you. But because it belongs to me, now you run it as a trustee, as opposed to thinking of yourself as an owner of this kingdom. The same attitude when we bring it to our relationships, then we'll become more responsible because it doesn't belong to us. Yeah. With your own money, you can play around. But if somebody gives you money, you'll have more trust, right? Okay, of taking care of that. Now, the last one is love. Right? Love motivates us to put in action as well. Love towards family, friends, relatives, something passionate about. We are passionate about towards pets as well. Now, how do we utilize this emotion to purify ourselves? Let's try to see and maybe have a bit of a discussion. Here also I have not put out because people will rebel with the concept. Okay, out, no, we'll do some tweaking here, plus minus, with a sense of responsibility. Right? We have a sense of responsibility. If you love somebody, it's an important for you to and not ensure, you can't ensure that, but see what best you can do for their spiritual journey, or with a sense of responsibility, taking care of them, right? May not be spiritual journey, but in whatever way you can take care of them, then that relationship or that love is worth it. Then without a sense of selfish attachment, that is an unholy thing. Now, the moment you start thinking about something for your own gain, that's where things can start getting tricky. And secondly, when you do it with a sense of selfish attachment, then it will bring in again worry, anxiety, and all those things. Why do we get worried about our loved and near and dear ones if something happens to them, and all those weird fears, anxieties, worries we start building because now we have some kind of a selfish attachment around it. So that is something we got to be careful about, and it's very subtle. And with a sense of duty, of course, right? And with a sense of higher compassion. Sense of duty, yes, there's a duty. Loving is no big deal in today's world, right? If you say, but then you have a sense of duty, and then it's like you want to take on a higher role. It's not just about having some kind of a selfish interest in mind and limited to that alone. And then with a sense of higher compassion as well. Higher compassion means we have spoken about two kinds of compassion in our previous sessions. One is a material compassion, one is a higher compassion, where you look at it, not just as a person or a relationship around you, but as with a sense of deeper concept about everybody's on their journey, right? So when you have that sense of compassion, any influence, anything that you could have on their lives, which could be productive for them in their spiritual journey, that is a higher compassion. Taking pity and thinking of somebody, oh bechara, that is not the compassion. Okay, that is a material way of thinking. But when you think it that sense, then you would probably approach it from a vantage, not even from a different perspective altogether. So if you do that, then we can channelize this emotion as well for our purification, as opposed to becoming entrenched in this material world and doing more of binding karma. Right? Same thing for pets as well. They're also on their journey. Now, if we have that responsibility, that's fine. But if we are like too attached and shedding tears and thinking about that alone, taking it a lot of mind space, that doesn't help, right? We have heard about the story of Jat Bharat as well. So this is where it is. So basically all these things, if you think, we always have a choice. Here is a trajectory, right? So in that sense, if you look at it, this is either we can fall down because our mind space you can give, right? In any situation, either you are falling down based on what you are thinking, or you're rising up, or you're staying neutral, status quo. All three choices are there based on how you are exercising any of these emotions. Like this boy jumping, right? That is where we need to be. Any questions based on what we have spoken about? So these four emotions we said. So yogis, they utilize these emotions. They also have a motive, right? If we are come in this world, you will work with a motive, but their motive, now even their senses are engaged in activities which are truly uplifting them and helping them purify their antakaran, not getting implicated in this world or worldly things at that point. So that is where we can also look at these emotions and really challenge ourselves to see how best we can utilize these emotions for jumping like this boy is doing. Yes.
A question. So in duty and love aspect, we said both in, and in the previous two aspects like fear, we said out and in, right? But is it like we can just focus on the in part and the other one will automatically be taken care of?
Yeah, the other one will be automatically taken care of. See, the tweaking is needed, right? See, the reason I have not put out here is you can't say take this love out. You have to do that. It's a good emotion, right? You take care of it. We just a fine tuning is needed. Right now, it's done with a sense of attachment. It's mine. So that brings in fear, that brings in that possessiveness, and that brings in a lot of other things that are not good for us. So that tweaking will automatically happen when we start shifting our perspective around it. The emotion in itself, there's no problem at all. But that fine tuning is needed. That's why I put in. I don't know what symbol would I have used for fine tuning. If there is one on the keyboard, let me know. I said plus minus. Okay, that means modify it.
No, so what I was asking is like, even in the case of fear, you have said that we should, the material fear, we should kick it out and we should add the fear of losing our spiritual progress,
True, but
right?
material
But
fear have to be
no, but
really
we have to focus on kicking that out or just focus on devotional,
your choice.
huh?
Your choice. I think if you keep on adding, the subtraction will automatically happen.
Yeah, that's what I was, yeah,
So
asking.
it's not like I let me kick it out and then add it. If you keep on adding, the perspective, the other thing will automatically getting kicked out, right? So, but the point here is that we need to practice that, to practice acceptance, more and more acceptance, especially when our mind starts getting anxious and worried. We need to practice it consciously, forcefully, mindfully, whatever we can do. Those are the opportunities where we can truly cut a spiritual corner when it happens. It's not easy. It's not so easy with our conditioned state. But if we can continue to do that and pray to God, I need strength at this moment because I really want to conquer it, you'll see something will change. Something will get unlocked within you in those moments. And we should not never let go of those opportunities to really make accrue some spiritual merit, gain something out of those experiences for sure. But yeah, you are right. If you add, the subtraction or the modification or the tweaking would automatically happen. That's why I said that's the beauty of the path of bhakti. Don't leave anything. Fine, you're struggling with some kind of a conditioning. It's okay. You keep on adding the other thing. The adjustments would automatically happen on the other side of it. Vairagya would automatically happen. The acceptance would automatically come. The prasad buddhi will keep on increasing. Those things will automatically start coming in our life. That's a good question. Yeah, thanks for asking that. Yes, Chandruji, you wanted to ask, and then Keshavji. Chandruji, there was a question you wanted to ask.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was saying that Kate Williams, who is here battling the fear of, not fear, it is real, that she has the cancer. Is that fear? Now, what if like another disease someone else has and it's not working out? And the ultimate choice is whether they have to give up, like even if they have to, if their life is coming to an end, how do they get out? I mean, you got in and out of it. How do they get in to deal with this fear?
So, yeah, that's fair. See, you don't dig a well when your house is on fire. And we never know if they would have some kind of a spiritual, saplings or seeds already there. Something might get triggered. I've seen a lot of people who come across, these kind of situations who become terminally, all of a sudden they take to religion and something gets unlocked in them. So the person who gives test gives you the ability to deal with it as well. We don't know what is turning within them at that point, right? But for us as humans, I think we should, there's no harm in visualizing your own death. We all have to die one day. We have died so many times. And be prepared about it. It's not like, oh my God, what happened? Anything can happen in this material world, right? We hear about things. Any situation we have to can come anytime, and that is the real test on how much we can dig into our reserves when those kind of situations happen. But you cannot talk somebody into it that, hey, you need to think this or that. It's everybody's individual journey. And I hope, people, they derive some kind of a strength in, dealing with that. And people do. I think something gets unlocked in them. I've seen a lot of people, when they face these kind of situations, something changes in them. All of a sudden, their perspective changes. And if you think about it, death is just a pit stop, right? It's like shedding this gross body or older cloth, which is fine. You move on to the new clothes. So from a material perspective, it's like a big event, but if from a spiritual perspective, not a big deal. What's the big deal? We are not going anywhere. We're going to get recycled. And for all you know, it might be good for the soul to get a new body or a better life. So we need to look at it that way. And then what is getting unlocked in somebody at that moment, nobody can know, right? And one can only hope that they, their spiritual journey takes another, they can leapfrog their spiritual journey through that experience. That's the best that can happen. But I would say it may seem tragic from a material standpoint, but from a worldly perspective, it's like nobody's immune to it. And we should preempt these kind of things in our head, especially if we are on this path. It's not like life is going to be rosy all way around, right? And anybody may have to depart this world at any moment. Anything can happen. We hear so many news, so many things can happen. So one of those things.
So joint decisions and consultations and advice from joint family, everything comes in place then.
People will tell from this. End of the day, the person who's dealing with it, they only have to, reason it out in their head. People will come, they can comfort you, they can tell you things, but end of the day, it's your own journey, right? How you're able to process all of it. So it's a spiritual journeys, and in what you call that, you are a lone mountaineer in this journey.
Right.
There's nobody
Thank
else
you.
who can accompany you. Yeah. Thank you, Chandraji. Yes, Keshavji.
Radhe, Radhe, Radhe.
Radhe, Radhe.
There was a comment from Monica along the same lines that in fact you can manifest the way you want to die, like in Vrindavan or in ashrams, etc. Like if you know, then you can try and arrange situations to make it more spiritual, or I think that's what she's trying to.
Tomorrow we'll talk about law of attraction. Yes, we can do to increase the probability of a lot of events happening, but some people may have those powers to manifest their reality. So we'll talk about that. How can we make that happen? But yeah, it's an interesting take on that. Yes, Keshavji, wanted to add something? I know we are closing in, coming to the close to the end.
Okay.
I see you.
Radhe, Radhe.
Hey, Urvi, good to see you.
All excited from Seva SMX.
Seva SMX. Yeah, I know. I had to miss it because we had a conflict. Yes, Keshavji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe, Radhe. Like fear and love for family and friends and relatives. My wife had COVID, like when the COVID was at its peak. My kids did not come to my home. My wife's brother living just 5 miles away never showed up. So घूम के वही आ गया ना, दो जिस्म मगर एक जहां हैं हम, एक दिल के दो अरमान हैं. तो husband wife has to take care, and there is no question to ask anybody for any opinion. And the beauty was my kids, they would always place order with Costco and other places for delivery of stuff needed, and medications, whatever. So the point is that has to be there. Why even to think of second life? It is not the soul alone. God himself has to come in the next birth, next life. Hirday sarvasya chaham hirday samnisto. So he has to come. He is there. So we are letting God come one more time. No. We have to surrender to God, forget everything. Ultimately, once last breath, everything going to be zero. This body is dead body. So what's the point worrying for anything?
Very true.
Radhe, Radhe.
It's very peaceful. We have experienced it multiple times. And if we actually surrender to God, We will talk about this concept. Okay, that's the best gift we can give to him. Why? Because we are decreasing his work. Right? God forbid if we become a donkey, we are increasing his work. He has to accompany us. He has no choice but to accompany us. So yes, the best gift we can give to God is to surrender to him and not let him continue to, keep on increasing his accounting books, the log of that, right? But yeah, this is an important topic. We'll continue to discuss more about it. There are a few more aspects that we need to discuss. A couple of more sessions would be needed for that. Now we can move on to our devotional segment. The philosophy session is complete. The feedback tracker is on for your questions. And Sandhya is going to make an announcement, which is going to be pretty exciting. Go ahead, Sandhya.
No, actually, I wanted to first say that Keshavji got a heart from Samji. That was exciting, actually.
That was very nice. Sam.
And second thing, there's a request for you to share the desire slide from Ganpriya ji. If you could just few seconds. So I
Sure.
think we could take
No
a
worries.
screenshot.
I can. Yeah, these are good desires. Hopefully, I think we got a few nuggets in today's discussion how we can utilize these emotions to purify ourselves as opposed to um, entrenching ourselves further in the material world. And then any questions that you may have, which we didn't get an opportunity to talk or discuss about, you can put it in the feedback tracker. We still have a couple of more sessions. By the way, this week we are going to have quiz as well. And try to mix it up, and maybe a presentation on Holi is also coming from Vinamra team is in overdrive mode to do a lot of presentations, which is nice. Ajichi, you wanted to do the singing today, or quick question maybe?
Yeah, and just can I quickly make one announcement that is regarding, so first of all, happy Holi to everyone, and we are going to have Phoolo Ki Holi celebration at the Radhakrishna temple on this Saturday. So please make sure you don't miss out on it if you are already in Dallas. If not, look out for exciting updates of the Holi celebrations virtually. Okay. Ajitji, Radhe Radhe. Ajitji, we can't hear you. Okay,
Okay.
I'll just start. We'll move on to the devotional segment now.
Let's take 3 hands, and we are already pretty much close to our time today. So Urvi is there, so you'll
Urvi,
get
yeah.
opportunity to sing today. I'm going to stop share. Let's do the Bhakti Shatak verse that we have. 3 hands, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, so we'll repeat this one because we
Sure.
didn't have meaning yesterday.
So let's take 3 hands quickly.
Yeah. So we'll start with Urvi. Radhe Radhe Urvi.
Urvi?
Radhe Radhe. Okay, I have to sing this, but I don't know the tune. Can you help me with this?
Okay,
A little bit.
let's start with Rahul then, so that you can get the okay.
Yeah, sure. Rahul ji, Radhe Radhe.
राधे राधे प्रथम साधना भक्ति करूं तब मन निर्मल होए राधे राधे मिलई विशुद्धा भक्ति तब गुरु अनुकंपा तो राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे राधे राधे.
Very nice. Thank you, Rahul. Urvi, you want to go next?
Yes, Urvi. Radhe Radhe.
Go ahead,
Radhe
please.
Radhe.
Radhe.
प्रथम साधना भक्ति करूं तब मन निर्मल होए राधे राधे मिलई विशुद्धा भक्ति तब गुरु अनुकंपा तोए राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे राधे राधे.
You are a quick learner, Urvi. Very nice. Okay, one more hand we'll take. I think Swati ji didn't get a chance yesterday.
Yeah, Swati ji, Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, ji did get chance. So Swati ji, go ahead, please. 10-5, we have it.
I
Go ahead,
will
Swati ji.
unmute her.
Unmutable.
Okay, now fine. Yeah, Swati ji, please go ahead.
या राधे राधे प्रथम साधना भक्ति करूं तब मन निर्मल होय राधे राधे मिलई विशुद्ध भक्ति तब Guru Anukampatoya Radhe Radhe. One should practice preparatory devotion, which will result in purification of mind. Thereafter, one will receive pure divine love through the grace of the spiritual master. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
By the way, yesterday we did 8th, okay? We are talking about Karam Yoga and other yogs. This is the next one. But nevertheless, this is a interesting one because we've been speaking about this concept, right? People think that they can do devotion on going solo. Now, this actually reiterates the importance of spiritual master or a guru. God's rule is that you will get the devotion, his devotion via guru. So divine love, it comes through the grace of a spiritual master. You cannot go solo on this journey because that's God's rule. Via guru. Okay, so that's why a spiritual master is a must-have on this journey. You cannot do this journey all by yourself. Okay, yes, Riyaji, maybe one more we can take. We'll make an exception for you and then wrap it up.
Radhe Radhe Riya ji.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Pratama sadhana bhakti karu, tab man nirmal hoya Radhe Radhe. Mile vishuddha bhakti tab, Guru anukampa toya Radhe Radhe. Jai Radhe Krishna Radhe Radhe, Radhe Krishna Radhe. Thank you, Radhe
Thank
Radhe.
you. Thank you, Riyaji. So thank you, everybody. With that, we come to the end of today's session. Thank you again for your engaging and enthusiastic participation. We'll continue on this topic tomorrow. And Radhe Radhe, good night, good day from my side. Don't forget to fill in the feedback tracker, especially if you had a question. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you everybody. See you all tomorrow. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.